What's up guys, welcome to the first video ever. Contrary to popular belief, I'm not actually Bob Dole, the American politician. We are this close to E3. We even got announcements today. So it's Christmas in June, baby. So I got some notes here. Just gonna kind of go through my predictions, what to expect, you know, that kind of thing, how to follow the entire show schedule from Saturday all the way into Tuesday. Hopefully this video will be kind of like a guideline and sort of also my predictions and what I think is going to be at the show, and who knows what could happen. There's a lot of crazy surprises that are probably going to come this year. So yeah, let's dive straight into it. First one's up on Saturday. We got EA. First thing's up, you know you're going to get your Maddens, your 2Ks, your NBAs, blah blah blah. It's never anything new, okay? It's always just like, here's Madden, here's 2K, here's NBA, here's baseball, here's soccer. Like, oh, new story mode and like things like that. Like, they won't give us anything that we haven't already seen, you know, nothing groundbreaking. It's just gonna be the same sports stuff. The next big game coming up is Anthem. Now, we've seen a little bit of this game before. We've got that little tidbit of gameplay where there's dudes in the exosuits riding around, going hunting for stuff, and like it's like this crazy survival, Destiny style kind of gameplay. So I'm really excited for that. Hopefully we're gonna get a story reveal. We're gonna get some kind of trailer that isn't just strictly gameplay wise. More information about how the game's gonna work, what exactly you're doing, why are you running around in a fancy suit hunting people. So I'm really excited for this game. I'm kind of hoping EA doesn't you know, do their EA thing and ruin it, because it has a lot of potential and it looks really interesting. Next up is Battlefield 5. So this was revealed just earlier, a couple weeks ago, by Trevor Noah, of all people. Apparently he's really into Battlefield, or they paid a lot of money to have him talk about it. Battlefield 5 sounds really interesting to me, because I'm a big fan of the Battlefield series in general, and while some of the more recent entries, 3, 4, and Battlefield 1 was okay, but Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, not really that great. They kind of dumbed down a lot of the stuff, and they kind of went towards a more realistic, gritty approach, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just always been kind of like the experience is not, you know, as fun. It's like, it's this realistic simulation shooter that we've seen before time and time again. It's not as fun as like your Bad Company 2s, where it's like, it just has like that character to it. They're fluid, functional shooters that they run well and they feel smooth, but they don't have that kind of character of fun mixed in with that realism that we normally get from a Battlefield game. I'm kind of hoping that Battlefield 5 comes with like a sense of character to it, not just a strictly simulation military shooter. And I know Battlefield 1 was kind of that, but it was also World War I, so it wasn't, it's something we had never seen before, so it made a unique experience. What's really interesting about this game is their DLC plans. What they're doing is they're getting rid of the Season Pass completely, which is a godsend. Thank you for that, EA. I appreciate that. So what they're doing is they're doing a release schedule based on the events of World War II. So they're going to start from the beginning, and as they roll out DLC, it'll be like weekly or monthly events that happen according to the way the timeline of history goes with World War II, which sounds really interesting to me because, well, for one thing, it's going to be free, so we're not going to be exiling players to specific servers that can only host people who haven't paid for the DLC. We're not going to divide the player base based on a monetary difference. What they have also announced is no more of those silly loot boxes, okay? The industry has had this conversation millions of times among everybody about loot boxes. We're glad to see it gone. So I'm really excited for Battlefield 5. I love this new DLC rollout plan that they're doing. As usual, they're gonna have that indie roundup that they always do. We'll probably, for some reason, get Joseph Fares back up there saying, you know, this game's gonna be really fucking good, blah blah blah. I have a feeling that Joseph Fares is gonna be there somehow. He's just like this independent studio icon now, just because of how much he swears in front of the camera to a live audience about his game that he thinks is the best game ever. But yeah, as well as that, like, we're gonna get a random assortment of indie games, you know, not much to say about that. We can't really expect much. So we'll get some surprise in there, and it'll be like cool concepts and stuff. Predictions for EA? We might get a new Star Wars game. Now, I know they shut down Visceral Games that was working on the Han Solo game, or like the prequel. That had a lot of promise, and it sounded really interesting. It's going to be an open world, bounty hunter-esque Star Wars experience. Sort of like what Solo the movie was supposed to be, except, that movie's kind of meh. They've reassorted developments in a way that they're kind of shifting focus or perspective, and which is, not necessarily a bad thing, but it's weird. It's different. So it'll be interesting to see what this new Star Wars game is going to shape up to be. It could just be a completely different experience of what we saw from that one little teaser that we got last year's E3. I think there'll be a new Star Wars game reveal, but it's going to be something. It'll be different, and it's going to be a story-driven experience. We're also going to get a tease about Respawn's new project. Now, Respawn, they've had some pretty, minuscule success with Titanfall 2. Titanfall 1 was an interesting concept, and it bred all these new Call of Duty games with the jetpacks and all that. Titanfall 1 came out, and to much avail, a lot of critics liked Titanfall 1. Titanfall 2 also came out with a single-player experience, still kind of a cult classic, or at least that's what it's going to shape up to be in the next few years, if not already. It's got a lot of interesting concepts and stuff, but it's never been a truly mainstream shooter. Even though it kind of is presented that way by EA, never really kind of made its way to the forefront of first-person shooters. So we're gonna get something new from Respawn. Whether it's a new Titanfall, which is kind of doubtful. Titanfall 2 is still pretty recent, so I don't think we'll see a new Titanfall experience. I think we're gonna get some kind of new project teased. Honestly, it'll just be a surprise what they reveal. We're not too sure, because it can't be a new Titanfall game. It's gotta be something different. And they have a new project in the works, it's been rumored, but we don't know for sure what it's going to be about. Alright, moving on to Sunday, the first press conference we're going to see is Microsoft. So Microsoft's going to be interesting. We're going to have to see how they're going to pull out all the stops to try and get back out in front. Sony has been leading this console lifespan by droves. They're selling millions more units than Xbox Ones, so Microsoft's kind of having a tough time. They have to try and figure out how they're going to get in front of Sony. What we're going to see from them is a lot of first-party titles getting new releases. I'll start with the first thing. We're going to figure out where Crackdown 3 is at. It's been a while since we had a last Crackdown game. It's been since the early days of the 360. They released a teaser for Crackdown 3, and then we've kind of heard basically nothing about that game ever since. So I'm sure Crackdown 3 is going to come out. They're going to talk about what exactly is the status of this game. There's a rumor about how it got pushed to next year. So we'll figure out whether that's true or not. We'll get a release date, I'm sure, because it's been really long. It wouldn't surprise me if we either A, get a really big trailer and they show a whole bunch of stuff and get people really excited for the game, or B, it just kind of gets, shoved under the rug and we don't really hear from it ever again. Because there's been so little news since Crackdown 3 was first revealed, I don't think we're going to get much of anything unless they come out with a huge trailer. And of course, Microsoft's going to open with their classic speech about the power of Xbox One and multimedia experiences and stuff. We get that every year, whatever. This will be the case for both Microsoft and Sony. We're going to get a lot of third-party support. We'll see the new Call of Duty, I'm sure. There'll be a lot of overlap between Microsoft and Sony as far as third-party releases go. So we'll expect to see a lot of hype trailers for all these new IPs from independent developers and publishers. Probably get 5 million Battle Royale games or Battle Royale modes, as we probably should expect by now with, Fortnite being what it is. Here's where we get to the big stuff. We're gonna see Gears of War, we're gonna see Halo. It wouldn't surprise me. We're definitely gonna see another Gears of War, considering how the last one ended. There's definitely a new trilogy happening, so we're gonna see more of the next Gears of War game, for sure. What I'm most interested of is what they're gonna do with Halo, because of the disappointment associated with Halo 5 and the Master Chief Collection. 343 is gonna have to do their best to try and revive this series to where it used to be. It used to be such a staple in video games altogether. People love Halo, people know Halo. So we're gonna see probably a new game. It'll either be a tease, and then there'll be a gameplay reveal afterwards, something like that. It's gotta be a really different experience in order to hook people. It's got to be some kind of unique experience, but also still retain that Halo vibe. We need to be able to punch aliens and blow them up. It's got to have that character, but it's also got to be different. We can't just do the classic, go to the Halo, kill the alien, blow the Halo up, and go. And I know they tried to do that with 5. Maybe they just didn't execute correctly, but it's got to be an experience in the vein of what Halo 5 is supposed to be, but executed better. And I think 343 can do it. They have a lot of potential. They've learned a lot from being safe and then experimenting. I think this year we could get a Halo that will actually be enticing for people both as Xbox fans and people who aren't necessarily Xbox fans. Also, we're gonna get a new Forza game. This always happens every year. Forza is becoming a yearly experience. I don't think we're gonna see a new Horizon game just yet. They had Horizon 3 come out in 2017, so we're not gonna see a new Horizon experience, but probably another iteration of the simulation racer that we're always used to seeing Forza Motorsports. I'm sure it'll be beautiful. It always is. They always showcase the top of the line design and how far the graphics can go on an Xbox. We'll see a beautiful trailer and some new cars. Forza's never disappoint. They always come out with the same stuff. We're probably going to get more Sea of Thieves content. I know a lot of people have been kind of disappointed at the lack of content in Sea of Thieves and how it's kind of got a repetitive nature, but it is an interesting premise, and I think they could come out with either some new DLC or some kind of expansion that will give players more of a goal rather than just, I'm a pirate, I'm gonna be a pirate, I'm gonna go take this thing. You know, repeat this infinite loop over and over again of you doing the same monotonous stuff. And now I have something in my predictions section here. There's definitely gonna be a Battle Royale Halo announcement. That wouldn't surprise me. They might do something with the Master Chief Collection. There might just be a new mode or something. It would surprise me if it's not there. It's gonna happen. You know, we're gonna see both Halo and Call of Duty probably coming out with Battle Royale modes. I mean, Call of Duty's already been announced, I'm pretty sure. Sorry if this disappoints you, but it's gonna happen. And here's another prediction, kind of a long shot. They're gonna do something with the Scalebound developers and the Scalebound project. For last year, they canceled the Scalebound project. For some reason, they just thought it didn't suit their profile, even though they're kind of desperate for those kinds of experiences anyway. And a lot of people were hyped up about the Scalebound game. They were excited. But I think we're gonna see something from the developers of Scalebound or from the Scalebound project at large to come back in some way. We're probably gonna see something from the project or from the developers of Scalebound, as whether it's a new IP or something based off of Scalebound, we're gonna see something from them. Alright, moving on to the next one of the day, Bethesda. They kind of double dip as far as Microsoft and Sony. They show little tidbits in their conferences about their new experiences, but you get the bulk of the Bethesda experience at their own conference. So there's gonna be a lot of big reveals there and probably some gameplay in the big 3 conferences. So for the first one, Fallout 76 recently revealed. They put out a trailer. It's just kind of a little teaser. It's supposed to be kind of like a prequel to the Fallout series. Now supposedly the rumors say that it's gonna be a multiplayer survival game similar to Rust or DayZ, which I think could be kind of interesting. Rust and DayZ and all those kinds of games, they had a solid following when they first came out. And they've kind of dwindled over time because, you know, it's the same experience. They haven't really come out with anything new. So I think Fallout 76 could be interesting because it's going to be a new experience in the same vein of Rust. I know a lot of people will be interested in this because a lot of people like survival games like Rust and DayZ. And I think with the base mechanics in Fallout 4, we're probably going to see those similar mechanics implemented into Fallout 76. It could be an interesting experience. I kind of like the base building, although it was kind of pointless in Fallout 4, but if they add it to a multiplayer experience like Fallout 76 could be, then it could make for a really interesting survival game. The next thing we're going to see from Bethesda, and I don't know who asked for this, but we got it, it's Rage 2. I expect it to be similarly an open world game, but they're going to expand upon it, you know, kind of use their Elder Scrolls Fallout experience and make it more of an open world game. The first one was open world too, but it wasn't, you know, as in-depth, I guess. So we're gonna see a new kind of rage experience similar to Fallout and Elder Scrolls, but with that Doom-style gunplay. They did that in Fallout 4. The gunplay is much better than it used to be. So I think they're gonna go even further with that with Rage 2. And the little tease that we got a bit of a slice of what the shooting's gonna be like and how the game's gonna operate. We're gonna see something very similar to a Doom experience, but in an open world setting and kind of like this Mad Max style world. But it could be an interesting concept, so I'm excited to see it. We're gonna hear about a Prey expansion for sure. It'll be some kind of expansion that either jumps off of the story from the Prey game that we got and kind of continues, or we get some kind of new experience on a new space station or whatever, so it should be interesting. It'll be a new concept. We're gonna hear more about Quake Champions. It kind of silently got released and not a whole lot of people were excited about the new Quake game. It didn't really get a lot of buzz from the press or anything like that, so there'll be some kind of expansion. Like I said, it's been kind of a ghost release. We don't really know what's been the response to it other than just kind of, They're gonna try and get a new player base back or keep returning players in some way. We'll probably get more hype information about the new Elder Scrolls Online expansion. I've heard some people like it. It's kind of different from what we've expected. I don't play the game, so I'm not a huge expert on it. We'll hear something about the new expansion. Some predictions. So Bethesda's kind of interesting. Bethesda does a lot of like secret reveals at their conferences. You know, they always tease in something at the end. So we're gonna get probably a tease for the next Elder Scrolls. That wouldn't surprise me at all. It's been a long time. Fallout 4 came out last year, or 2 years ago. They could be working on something. We don't know for sure, but we're definitely gonna get a tease of something Elder Scrolls. It wouldn't surprise me if we see a Doom 2. There's so many fans who are excited about this newest Doom, and if they kind of run on that momentum for another game, then I wouldn't be surprised at all. And the only other thing is this new rumored project they have called Starfield. That could be a code name. We're not entirely sure. We don't know anything about it. It's got to be some kind of space sim or sci-fi experience adventure. We'll see. We don't know what it is. Could be something crazy. Who knows? And one of the last shows is Devolver Digital, and apparently they have a show. It's really tacky. It looks like an episode of the Eric Andre show. It's really dumb. If you want to watch last year's, I'll link it in the comments or something. I don't know why they have their own show, but it's happening again. So if you're a Devolver fan, cool. Alright, moving on to Monday. This is a big day as far as conferences go. First off, we're going to have Square Enix. A lot of hype going into this one, specifically for one game that everyone's been waiting a long time for, Kingdom Hearts 3. So Kingdom Hearts 3 is most definitely going to be there. We're going to get a release date. It has to get a release date at this point. It's been so long. It's already been confirmed by Nomura that we're going to know in June when this game's coming out. And it's coming out this year. And that's surprising for a lot of people, especially me being a Kingdom Hearts fan. I've been waiting 10 years for a solid Kingdom Hearts experience. And I'm not talking about spin-offs. I'm not talking about handheld games. We're talking about a full mainline console game. I'm hyped about this. This will be really interesting. We're gonna get some world reveals. We're gonna get some character reveals. I want to see some Final Fantasy characters. We have seen almost nothing about Final Fantasy in Kingdom Hearts 3. We've seen all these new Disney worlds being revealed, and I get that all the worlds are Disney. That makes sense to me. Where are these characters? This game is known for being a crossover between the two, but literally everything that's been revealed is just Disney. You know, everybody loves, that Sephiroth Cloud face-off that they have in every mainline game. You know, it's fun. It's like this cute little side conflict that everybody wants to pay attention to. Because we know we're getting a release date and all that, and it's finally coming, thank God. But we haven't seen anything about Final Fantasy characters. Moving on, we got a new Tomb Raider game coming out. It looks kind of like the same thing that we got with Rise of the Tomb Raider. I'm not particularly excited, but it'll be interesting for anybody who's fans of new Tomb Raider series. I'm a passive fan, but I think the new direction's been good. I think it's been interesting, but if this new trailer is going to be anything like the last game, then it'll just be the same experience. A few other games, we're going to get Dragon Quest XI. Dragon Quest X was an online-only game for Japan only, but I think this year we're going to get our next mainline Dragon Quest to come to the West. We're gonna see some form of trailer. It'll be interesting for the fans who love this series to finally get a new Western release of a mainline Dragon Quest game. And also there's gonna be another Dragon Quest Builders game, which is just Dragon Quest Minecraft. Not much else to say about that. Another cool thing, Octopath Traveler, which is like a Nintendo Switch kind of 2D, 3D crossover, like 2.5 dimension RPG. It's an interesting art style, and I'd like to hear more about it. It's supposed to be coming this year at around July, I think. So it'll be interesting to see where that game's at, try to get more people hyped up about it, because it's an interesting concept, and the art style looks really cool. They're like messing with perspective. We'll see that for sure at their press conference. Alright, moving on to my predictions. We'll see the Final Fantasy VII Remake. We saw that one trailer, it was like a tech demo of how it might work a couple years ago, and since then we kind of heard, grumblings about studios moving around and it's becoming an in-house production now. And this might be a long shot, but I think we might actually get a release window. Now granted, it's not coming out this year, it's not coming out next year. Whether it gets delayed or not is to be debated, but we're probably going to get some kind of window when we can expect this game. And whether it's going to be the episodic release window that they've kind of flirted with talking about, they might release it in kind of episodes 1, 2, and 3 or something like that, which, might not be a bad thing. The original Final Fantasy VII came out on 3 discs, so, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if we get like a multi-disc kind of episodic release over time. I don't think that would be terrible, but if they do an episodic release, they might kind of mess around with pricing options. It could be like a $20 first episode, a $40 first episode, and if there's 3 episodes, then it's going to be $120 as opposed to a $60 game. We're kind of wait to see what they're going to do with the release of the remake, but I think we'll hear something about when it's coming. Rumored recently, Just Cause 4. We might hear a tease about the next Just Cause game, or if we get some gameplay, that would be crazy. It wouldn't be too out of this world as far as a release schedule. Just Cause 3 came out a couple of years ago, so they've had some time. This one's kind of a long shot, and this is something that I really want to see, and because I think this will be a totally new concept for this series. Life is Strange 2. It's been a while. They've kind of teased that Dontnod is working on a new Life is Strange. We're not going to see the same characters. We're not going to see the same story with Chloe and Max. We are going to get a new experience, something different. I've talked with friends about this, and I think this could be like a cool, different premise. We could have like 2 detectives trying to solve a case, and one of them gets like the rewind power, or they both do, who knows. But I think it's going to be an interesting and different concept for the series, but still kind of follow that same rewind time, messing with outcomes and things like that. And also lastly, I think we're going to get something about that new Avengers project. We don't really know much about it. We just know that they're working on it and that there's a partnership between Square Enix and Marvel. We just kind of have to wait and see what it is. But I think we'll get a tease of something, whether it's a game or a couple games or a series or something like that. We'll see. Alright, moving on to the next show, which is Ubisoft. We got a couple pretty set in stone things to expect. First one being Assassin's Creed, the newest iteration, which is called Odyssey, was just revealed. Quick little teaser. We don't really know much about it other than it's going to be about Greek history. So we're definitely going to see a whole bunch of that during the Ubisoft conference. Could be interesting because Origins was kind of like a new step for the series. They kind of took some time to figure out where their series is. And I mean, that makes sense. They were going with the yearly releases over and over again. And it was just kind of, they had this momentum and they kind of ran way too far with it. Origins came out, they kind of went a Witcher approach, which was, it was interesting. It's a different game. It'll be interesting to see how this new game is going to shape up to be. They could just iterate on Origins and use the same kind of structure and go from there and just have a new setting but have the same game, which frankly would be disappointing. But I expect to hear a lot about this game during their conference for sure. Another new game that we're going to hear a lot about, Division 2. We'll probably get a nice little gameplay demo. We could get a completely new setting. I've heard people throw around the ideas of London. They could go back to San Francisco like they did with Watch Dogs 2. So it'll be interesting to see how the Division 2 is going to differ from the first one. I hope they refine the gameplay. The gameplay in Division 1 was so Destiny-like. I lost interest pretty quickly because of how monotonous it became to be, and it also didn't help that, like, you know, enemies were just health tanks, you know? They didn't have any kind of different move sets. It was always just kind of like bigger dude with bigger armor has bigger health. And, you know, we want something different. We want a challenge, not just like, we need to bring more bullets this time, you know? So it'll be interesting to see how the Division 2 deals with the monotony. Another game that we're gonna see for sure, The Crew 2. Another open world racing game. You know, the first one was okay. I wasn't a huge fan of it. It's just like Forza Horizon, but not as good. It's hard to differ from what you did in the first game, but it could be a fun experience. I won't knock it down just yet, but we'll see. One experience I think we're gonna see, and I hope that we see a lot of, is Skull and Bones. So a lot of people loved Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag because of the naval gameplay. The ship system and like the ship fights and the naval battles are all so much fun. It's almost like it's not an Assassin's Creed game, how much fun it is and how bad the rest of it is. So they're bringing that to a whole new experience as its own separate game called Skull and Bones, and I think it could be really interesting to see how the gameplay is gonna shift with the incorporation of the naval combat, but also to see where it goes beyond that, because I think it has a lot of potential to be a solid pirate game. All the mini systems of how to manage your fleet and things like that, really interesting stuff, and I think if they incorporate that and make it a little bit more complex into like a fully fledged pirate game, then it'll be a really awesome experience that people will really enjoy. So we're gonna hear a little bit about that game, and it should be interesting to see where it goes. One thing we're definitely going to see, Beyond Good and Evil 2, it was teased last year, a little bit more about how the world's going to be like, what your spaceship's going to be, how the story's going to play out, so I'm just kind of skeptical as to what the game even is, because we haven't seen much. It's just been kind of demos, and this will be a game to look forward to just to see what it's like as it functions. But I am excited about it because it's cool. It's got like animals and humans and like bounty hunters, and it's like a Star Wars-esque, but like a more satirical, kind of funny characters, and it's kind of got like a humorous side to it. It's gonna be interesting to see how that game shapes up. Next thing, for sure, we're gonna get Far Cry 5 DLC. We're gonna hear more about the Zombie DLC. We're gonna hear more about the Vietnam DLC. We saw a little teaser trailer that was released a couple weeks ago. It looked pretty solid, that Vietnam DLC, and it could be really interesting, and it'd be cool to see what the other DLCs are gonna be like, and how it's going to differ from the original gameplay. And also another thing, we're going to get the classic like indie roundup that we usually get. We might get more of that that VR bird chasing game that we saw last year. It looked super goofy on stage, as most Ubisoft things do, so I'm sure we'll see more of just like random indie games that they're popping out that have like these concepts. And of course, you already fucking know. That was really cringy, and I'm sorry. Yeah, they're gonna come out with another Just Dance game, just deal with it. And also, For Honor, probably. So some predictions. As per usual, Ubisoft always leaves a little tease at the end for a new IP of some kind. So we're gonna see some new game. And also, one last prediction that I really hope happens, a new Splinter Cell game. It's been rumored a couple times. And with Sam Fisher appearing in Ghost Recon Wildlands, I really hope we get a nice long teaser and some gameplay. It's bound to happen. It's been so long. People want it. It's gonna happen. On to the next show, which really doesn't have much to say usually as far as video games go. There's the PC gaming show that happens every year. There's some minuscule reveals that happen each year. Nothing too big. They usually just talk about new hardware and new software as far as like gaming optimization goes, new processors, new graphics cards. There's usually not a whole lot about games reviews, so I'm not going to talk a whole lot about that. On to the next of the big three, which is Sony. So there's going to be some overlap with Microsoft and Nintendo as per usual about third-party games, so I'll try and skip a little bit of that just to save time. We're going to get some solid first-party releases, but not a whole lot of teases and stuff of new games. I think we're just going to focus a lot on what to expect as far as their mainline releases. So the first one, obviously we're going to see more about The Last of Us 2. We saw that really violent and almost kind of cringy trailer trailer recently, which was like a lot of people kind of complained about how rough it was supposed to be. They have said that it's supposed to be a game about hate, so I understand that the violent aspects are going to be a huge part of that game. We've had some kind of glimpses into the game, but like the timeline's kind of fuzzy because we've seen Joel and Ellie in like a later stage of the game, but we've also seen this new character, so we don't really know who she is or why the stuff that happens to her in the trailer happens to her. I think we're gonna get a lot of story information. We might get some backstory, try and get a feel for where exactly we are in The Last of Us 2 as far as the timeline is concerned for the story. And I'm sure we'll get a nice little demo of either from the new character or from Joel and Ellie. I can't imagine it'll be much different from the first game as far as how you play. I'm sure it'll just be linear storytelling with the same kind of environments. And maybe the environments be a bit broader, or you might have like multiple ways to go through a certain area, but as far as that goes, the rest of it will probably be mostly the same experience. Alright, the next one on the list a lot of people are excited about is the new Spider-Man game coming out. It's very Rocksteady-ish, similar to the Batman games, like the Arkham games. It's supposed to be an open world game, and it looks promising from what we've seen, but most of the trailers have been kind of linear. I'm hoping that this next E3, they kind of showcase the freedom that's supposed to be coming with an open world gameplay style. More open-endedness, less scripted events. We don't want to see the same kind of trailer where they kind of go through a certain path studied upon by the demo player or something like that. We want to see something new. We want to see multiple avenues of gameplay. And the next one, a surprisingly better game than I expected, Days Gone. A lot of people kind of slept on this game because it's like, oh, another zombie game, ta. Recently we've had some previews from like E3 Judges Week, and people have been pleasantly surprised by this game, which is good because it looks passively interesting, but the more you kind of watch the gameplay of it, if the scope is true to what the developers are saying, it's gonna be a unique experience. It's gonna be a large open world. It'll be similar, I'm sure, to like State of Decay, but on a larger, broader scale. And a lot of people that have played the game from Judges Week have said that the scope is much larger and the gameplay experience is like solid. It's different. It's not like every other zombie game we've ever played ever. I dropped my fucking pen! One more game I want to talk about is Death Stranding. So, another Hideo Kojima game. We've seen some stuff on this game, weird trailers, no gameplay at all, just strange pre-rendered trailers with Norman Reedus. We're still kind of waiting to see what this game's going to be like. Me personally, I think Kojima's going to walk up there with his Death Stranding t-shirt and his blazer, and he's gonna play a demo right in front of us. I know it. Either him or he's going to have somebody do it for him, and he'll be up there. But we're going to see some gameplay this time. We literally haven't seen anything yet. It's just these weird teasers that we've got. We're finally going to see something of substance from this game. We're waiting to see what Death Stranding really is. And we might not even know even when we get the gameplay, because our Kojima game is a weird game, and it's always going to be, it's a good game, but it's going to be weird. With Kojima, you really can't be too sure about anything. Another game we're definitely going to see is Ghost of Tsushima. So this was something that kind of fell off my radar anyway. I don't know if this was the same for everybody else, but it's a stealth ninja samurai game. Never really had any interest in it anyway. I just heard the name kind of thrown around. But I saw a trailer and I was like, oh, this could be really interesting. But of course it was just one of those trailers, pre-rendered, no gameplay, blah, blah, blah. We're definitely going to see something on it, and I think it would be nice to see some gameplay to kind of solidify how I feel about it. But for right now, I don't really know what it is or what it's going to be. So as far as predictions go for Sony, some of them are kind of weird. We're gonna get some weird teases, I feel like. Not a whole lot, but some. We're definitely gonna see a Bloodborne sequel. Some kind of tease, probably not a whole lot. It's been long enough. People loved the original Bloodborne. Caricature of the premise in like the Victorian era, dark, grisly, gross, beast aesthetic is really cool. Not something you see very often. And secondly, I think we might see something about a Horizon sequel. It's been a little while since Zero Dawn first came out. There's an ant on the camera. What are you doing, buddy? I'm trying to record something in. We could see something on a Horizon sequel. Not too sure what we would see. It could be a tease, it could be a gameplay demo, it could be a surprise. We might see something. First game is adored and loved. I loved it, so we'll see. And this next one is most definitely a long shot. Some rumors have been bumping around that we might see something about Siphon Filter. A remake or a reboot or a sequel or whatever. Alright, and lastly, for the final day on Tuesday, we have Nintendo is going to be doing their Nintendo Direct / Treehouse events. This one will be really interesting too, because I feel like Nintendo's going to have a bunch of surprises. We obviously know we're going to be seeing the new Smash. The hype train is real and it's happening, and we got the release here. It's coming out this year, so we're going to be seeing plenty of the hype train for that happening. We have the E3 Invitational, so we're doing a whole tournament about that. There's also the Splatoon 2 Invitational that we're doing a tournament for that. So yeah, for sure we're going to have the reveal of Smash Switch. I'm sure we're going to get a couple characters. Don't imagine we'll see too many newcomers just yet. Considering it'll probably come out in September, I imagine they're going to want to slowly release some new characters over time. They're not going to want to show everything. My guess? Probably gonna have the same amount of people on the roster as Smash 4 did, maybe more over time with DLC and whatever. At release, we're probably gonna have a similar number. We're definitely gonna hear more Pokemon stuff. They just released the Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee reveal. It's basically just Pokemon Go on your Switch. It just looks like up-rendered Pokemon Go battles with some new little features and some co-op. The main thing though is that we're waiting for the reveal for the new Pokemon game. New mainline on the Switch Pokemon game Gen 8, maybe. We'll definitely have to see something. Similar to Fire Emblem, they've said a lot about this game and how it exists, but we haven't seen anything. So we're gonna see a demo or some kind of trailer featuring the new Pokemon. I'm sure we'll get plenty of starter reveals and some new basic Pokemon. Probably not all of them, but we'll see some of them. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge Pokemon fan, but the whole world is now, thanks to Pokemon Go, but like, a lot of people are expecting that new Pokemon game to come out soon. And I don't think it's going to come out this year, but it'll come out next year. People have been waiting a long time for the Gen 8 Pokemon. Next thing, for sure we're going to see Metroid Prime 4. We're actually going to see it, hopefully. Or at least get a trailer of what it is. Not really sure what to expect from this. I am not the biggest Metroid fan, but it'll be interesting to see what this game shapes up to be. I know a lot of other people are extremely excited for this kind of game, so cards are on the table. We'll finally actually get to see what it is. Also, we're definitely going to see what the new Yoshi game is for the Switch. We just know there is one. And Nintendo does this a lot. They just kind of say that there's another game coming. You know, with Yoshi, it's similar to Fire Emblem. They just kind of said it's a thing that is happening, and we haven't seen anything yet. So we'll definitely see a trailer for the new Yoshi game. It'll get a real name instead of just Yoshi 2018 or 2019 or whatever. I don't know if it'll be in the same, Woolly World or like another Yoshi's Island game, or who knows. Going off of that, the Fire Emblem game. They literally just showed a title on a Nintendo Direct a year or two ago, and now we hopefully will see something. We're definitely going to see a demo. We're definitely going to see a trailer. We need to know more about this game. It's the first console Fire Emblem that we've received in years, so a lot of people are hyped up to see what this is going to be. We're definitely going to get a nice roundup of the Nindies, the Nintendo indie games. Billions of them out now, and there's billions coming, because it's so easy to develop for the Nintendo Switch. The eShop is full of new games every week. So we're definitely going to get a nice little roundup trailer of all these new games independently developed coming to the Switch. Next thing, and this is just a little tidbit, we're going to get some third-party stuff. We might see some ports of old games. There's been rumors of Fortnite, which wouldn't surprise me. Again, Fortnite is Fortnite. Everybody loves it, so we're going to probably see it on the Switch. There's been some other rumors, like Dragon Ball FighterZ will probably be coming to the Switch. That would be kind of cool. So yeah, it'll just be like similar to like the Nintendo Indie Roundup. There'll be like a couple reveals for some old ports or some new ports, multi-releases of other games that are announced for the mainline consoles, and we'll see what we get. It could be a mixture of anything. Some of the rumors could be true, some of the rumors not true. Who knows? Alright, so moving on to the predictions section. That Star Fox Racer that people seem to be throwing rumors around about, there's no way that's true. There's no way that they created a Star Fox Racer in the vein of F-Zero without it being an F-Zero game. Which moves into my next thing. They're definitely going to show F-Zero. There's no way that they don't. If they don't, then Captain Falcon and his franchise is dead forever. Because there's been so many rumors about racers and stuff, And a Star Fox Racer would not make sense to me, albeit the Star Fox brand has more recognition than F-Zero does, certainly by a large margin. But with Star Fox Zero being the game that it is, there's no way we're gonna see another Star Fox that's a different concept. Nintendo would not go that far, especially if they're going to be revealing games like Metroid Prime 4. They have a solid lineup of new games that are coming out. There's no way that they had time to go and develop a Star Fox Racer. It makes no sense to me. What does make sense to me is a new F-Zero game. That would blow everything out of the water. People would be so surprised by that. But it makes sense because of where the franchise is. We've seen the Mario Kart 8 stages, we've seen, you know, the other references in other games of F-Zero. Now would be a good time to test the waters and bring out a fully fledged F-Zero game. Otherwise, this franchise is dead. I don't think we'll ever see another F-Zero again, or at least for a long time. And also, of course, since it's the Smash Direct, the Smash E3 for 2018, I'll throw some character reveals at you. You know, this is the fun part about a Smash being released. Everybody tries to guess what the new characters are going to be. For me, and this is just, I want this to happen so bad it hurts, Sora in Smash. Sora would be a perfect character. He has the perfect attitude. He has so much room for a unique and exciting moveset. He's got his base combos, he's got drive forms, he's got magic, all these different things. He can have his limits with Donald and Goofy as his final smash, or drive forms. Sora would be just such like a fun character to experiment with. There'd be so many different play styles. Maybe it's just thinking way too far out of the box, but Sora in Smash would just be such a fun and unique opportunity to develop and experiment something new. Especially with Kingdom Hearts 3 coming out this year, it almost seems like a no-brainer, like from a marketing perspective, not from a development perspective. But it could happen, and if it does happen, that would be amazing. It would be one of the best character reveals of all time. Other characters, I definitely want to see our boy Wolf come back, because Wolf is so cool, and I don't know why they took him out, especially considering like Falco and Fox are still there. The other franchises have villain representation. Zelda has Ganon, Mario has Bowser, obviously. Bringing the Wolf back would make sense just because, you know, there's not a lot of villain representation in Smash. We get a lot of heroes and stuff, and that makes sense. Everybody likes the hero, but like, you know, why would you take Wolf out from a theory perspective? It just seems like a pointless move. He'll definitely come back, especially if they're trying to expand upon the roster that they had in Smash 4. Other character predictions, they're going to get rid of all the clones, or at least rework them. I don't see Dr. Mario coming back as his own person. They'll probably just make him a skin. Same for Dark Pit. Maybe even Palutena probably wouldn't make it back, although that's kind of slim just because like Sakurai loves the Pit games. I don't know, there's just some extraneous characters, like Lucina. I mean, she'd have to get reworked if she were to come back. I feel like at this point in development, clones for Smash is just such a cop-out at this point. You have all this time to develop. It makes the roster more concise. Other reveals, they might do like Crash Bandicoot. As far as like Sora, but I guess to the same extent Crash does too. So I guess they're both equally have a chance to make it into the game. I would say one over the other though. I don't think both would make it. Other people have said like Spyro. I don't think Spyro would happen, just because like Crash has that character recognition, but Spyro doesn't. Those are just the characters that I want in anyway. But we'll see. We'll see what other kind of characters we're gonna get. I mean, you know, the whole book's open as far as we're concerned, because like Smash 4 kind of blew any of the boundaries away of what we were expecting to see. Yeah, so that wraps up my E3 what to expect predictions video. I apologize. The quality for this video is gonna be a little iffy, just because I'm kind of figuring out my setup here, rough around the edges about my discussion and things, but I'm trying to keep it professional as possible. I'm going to link in the description the entire E3 schedule, when to tune in from Saturday to Tuesday. Everything is in the order of how I presented this video. So yeah, anything you have to say it in the comments. If you want to follow me on any other stuff, I'm going to start doing reviews soon, and other discussion videos like this, and you know, any other content. I'm going to try and start streaming soon. If you guys want to follow my social media, I'll put that in the description as well. So if you want to keep in touch and just kind of follow what I do, I'll give you updates on how everything's kind of falling into place right now, because I'm still kind of setting everything up. I mean, you can see this is just like a random room that I picked to record in. Once I have a solid setup going, you'll start to see more professional quality content, videos like this, or just like gameplay and stuff like that. I expect to see some reviews and stuff too. First review is probably going to be God of War. I know it's kind of late, but I haven't really had time since graduation. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Drop a like in the video if you like it. Dislike it if you don't, I guess. And throw some comments in there if you want to discuss. And let me know what you think. Alright, peace.